So we just talked about like what's going on in the market, where the market is. So now what we're going to talk about is what to do about it. And by the way, this presentation, this whole event is sponsored by the Texas REIAs, the largest network of real estate investor associations in Texas, and flipping.com, the #1 place to get started flipping. Texas REIAs has 150,000 members, participants, and attendees going back to 2003 with chapters in Austin, Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio. Why do you care, and why does that matter? Well, the reason you should care is because real estate is local. Laws are local. Contracts are local. Contractors are local. Houses are local. Buyers and sellers, local. Everything about real estate is local. There's 30,000 YouTube videos that talk about how to invest in real estate. And they talk about how to do it anywhere. Well, how to do it anywhere is how to do it at 30,000 feet. But real estate is not bought and sold at 30,000 feet. Real estate is bought and sold at 0 feet. So if you want to know what laws apply here, and which neighborhoods to invest in here, and which contractors to hire here, and where to get the money here, and what's legal and not legal here, where to get the contract here, the power team here, where do you get all that? You get that all at your local real estate investor association. And my job is to make you all into educated and contributing members of this community. So we're going to do some training. By the way, we are live and we are also broadcasting online. If you are online, welcome and thank you for joining us. If you're on GoToWebinar, you are live. If you are on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or Instagram, you may or may not be live. But if you'd like to join us at a future live event, you're more than welcome to do that by simply going to flipping.com/events, because we have all kinds of training continuously all over the place and all over the state. So let us get started here. And I'm going to answer a common question that a lot of people, when they come to the REIA, ask: where do I get started? Where's the best place to get started? Because there's so many things you can do with real estate. And one of the things about us is we're not one-trick ponies. I do commercial, I do residential, I do buy and hold, I do fix and flip, I do active, I do passive. I love every strategy, I love every asset. I've invested in $350 million worth of commercial deals, every kind of thing, storage, hospitality, multifamily, you name it. I love them all. They just have pros and cons associated with them. So a lot of people, when they get started, ask the question, where do you get started? And we're going to talk about that. And the way I like to answer that question is I break it into 4 different quadrants. Right? You can do residential, you can do commercial, you can do active, and you can do passive. So then which quadrant is the right one for you? There's no right or wrong. But I would say it depends on the problem that you're trying to solve. So for example, if you tell me, I am here because I want to quit my job, I want to make an extra $100,000 or more than $100,000 in the next year, I want to create a side hustle, that's my goal. I want to make money relatively quickly with little or no money, whether I have money or not. If that's your goal, I'm going to say you should be flipping houses. There's a dozen ways to do it. 9 of these 12 ways don't even require money or credit. The best way to quit your job, replace your income, make an extra $100,000 or more in the next 12 months is going to be to flip houses. Now, if you say, well, that's not really my problem, that's not what I'm here for. My problem, what I'm really here for, is I want to build wealth. I want to be wealthy when I retire. I want to have a better, wealthier retirement. If that's your primary goal, I'm going to say, great, you should be buying rental properties. In my opinion, everybody should buy rental properties. You buy it, hand the keys to a property manager, says, see you in 20 years. Right? And here's what happens over the next 20 years. They double in value. If you buy in the right location, we have proprietary heat maps that show exactly where to buy them. They'll double again, maybe double a third time. And the tenants pay off the mortgages. It's amazing. The tenants literally pay off the mortgages for you. I got 3 different notices this last year. Mortgage paid off, mortgage paid off, mortgage paid off. I was like, thank you, tenants, thank you, tenants. A lot of my properties I own free and clear because the tenants keep paying off the mortgages. So they double and double and double, and the tenants pay off the mortgages. They may even make a little money along the way, but that's your ticket to wealth. In my opinion, everybody should buy rental properties. Most of my wealth today came from the very wise decision to buy rental properties 20 years ago. Now, if you tell me that's not what I'm here for, what I really want to do is I want to make money with my money. I already have money. I have a pile of money, and I want to double my money. I want to put my money into something where I don't have to do anything, right? And somebody else doubles my money. I want something safer than the stock market and a higher return than the stock market. If that's your goal, I'm going to say you should be investing in commercial syndications. Commercial syndications, on average, have twice the return of the stock market and half the risk. Financial advisors hate commercial syndications. They despise. Ask your financial, what do you think about investing in commercial real estate? You know what they're going to, oh, you don't want to do that. That's just bad idea, terrible idea. And the reason they hate it with a passion is because every time their clients invest in commercial real estate, they lose their client. Right? I have not invested in the stock market in over 20 years. Because once you know about something that's twice the return and half the risk, you're never going to go back to the stock market. Before I became a real estate investor, I invested in the stock market. I worked in corporate America as an engineer, had a W-2 job, and I took my money and put it in a 401k, invested in the stock market. That's what I knew. That's all I knew. Right? But when I learned that there were things that have twice the return and half the risk, I'm all out of the stock market 20 years ago and all into commercial real estate. But if you say, but that's not what I'm here for, what I want to do is I want to make $1 million, $2 million, $3 million a year. That's my goal. I want to make the big, big bucks. Then I'm going to say, great, you should be sponsoring syndications. You should be commercial sponsoring syndications. But there is one little catch, right? Remember, commercial syndications, typically how long do they take? 5 years. So it is big money. Yeah, you can make $1 million or more dollars per deal, but they typically take like 5 years. So it is big money, it's just not fast money. But if you start doing that, right, every year you do 1 or 2 deals, and then after 5 years, you're making $2, $3, or more $1 million a year. So these are all great things to do, right? There's no right or wrong answer. The way most people do it is they start by flipping houses, and then they keep some of them, right, the right ones, the best ones, as rental properties. Once they have more money than they need to pay their bills, they start putting some of their extra money into investments. And if they learn about commercial, they realize, wow, that's higher return than the stock market, less risk. And then eventually, when you invest in commercial syndications, the best way to learn commercial is to invest in commercial. Because you get to see the deal and meet the sponsor, get a copy of the business plan, watch it get executed before your eyes. Typically, you put $50,000 in, you get $100,000 back. You just got paid $50,000 to learn how it really works. And then you're going to say, I really want to do that. And you're going to go find your own commercial deal. Okay? So these are where most people get started. There's no right or wrong. Let's do a little poll of the audience. How many of you would say you're primarily here to make an extra $100,000 next year or two? Who's mostly quadrant 1? Mostly quadrant 1. Okay, how many of you are saying, no, mostly I'm looking for wealth. I'm looking for long-term wealth. Quadrant 2, okay, great. How many of you are saying, I'm really looking for syndications. I want to make money with my money, okay? Some of you make money with money. How many of you are here because I'm ready to do commercial syndications? Who's ready to do commercial syndications? Okay, great. They're all fantastic. Good news, we do them all here at the REIA. We have training and resources and all kinds of things. Regardless of which of these quadrants you're looking for help with or looking to participate in. I'm going to go deep in these different quadrants now. I will do a little comment, though, quickly. If you're here mostly for commercial, if you really want to learn how commercial works, I'm going to suggest you take a snapshot of that QR code. And by the way, these little QR codes we're putting up, it just sends a text message saying, I'd like to get more information on that, whatever that is. And it's a perfect way to build your power team. You need money, we got money. You need deals, we got deals. You need training, we got training. You want to invest passively, we got investments for passive. But if you're really interested in commercial, take a click on this. We have some special commercial training classes, level 1, level 2, and level 3 classes for people that want to get into commercial, and you can get some free commercial training by just clicking on that. Okay, so most of you, though, are in that quadrant 1 or 2. So let's start by kind of diving deeper into quadrant 1 or 2. And the good news is there's 12 different strategies that you can use to make money in quadrant 1 and 2. And we're going to talk in a little more detail about those 12 different strategies and teach you a little bit about them. So, by the way, I'm Phil Grove, by the way. You saw a little introduction of me earlier. I became a real estate investor December 15, 2003. I've negotiated over 1,200 deals. I own about $30 million of the houses here in Texas. Made a lot of money over the years. Taught over 100,000 people how to invest in real estate. I do like teaching. I get invited often to speak at REIAs and things like that, where I teach people about real estate. And I will say this real estate thing, if you actually do it, like if you go out and make money investing in real estate, here's what I'm going to say about investing in real estate. Investing in real estate is a really dumb idea, very dumb idea. Just ask your friends and family. They're all going to tell you, really dumb idea. And it remains a really dumb idea right up until the second you do what? Until you make money. As soon as you actually make money, instantly it becomes a brilliant idea. And then all the people that told you it was a dumb idea are going to say, show me how you did that. So, and we call that bringing people along for the ride. So you get invited to talk about it once you do it. So I've been doing it for 20 years, just over 20 years. These are some of the deals that made me money. I don't have time to go through them all. But I do up to a real estate transaction a week in some shape, form, variety, or another. And what that does, it creates what I call money in big chunks. Now that sounds cool, right? Money in big chunks. I'm not here to sound cool. I really am here to teach you. So let me teach you. How does this business work? The way this business works is as follows. We do things to find people with problems. To an entrepreneur, problems are what? Opportunities. Big problems are what? Big opportunities. I'll give you a statistic. During the Great Depression, there were more millionaires per capita created than any other era in our history. Why was that? Because there were more problems. Okay, so if you're thinking like, I don't want any problem, you're thinking, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. That's what entrepreneurs do. We are just real estate entrepreneurs. As real estate entrepreneurs, we solve real estate problems. So I'm going to show you a whole bunch of problems, and I'm going to give you some really ingenious, very creative solutions to those problems, because we have a solution to every problem there is. There is no example we don't have a solution to. But I'll give you some specific examples. I found somebody facing foreclosure, big problem, and I gave them an alternative, an out, something called a short sale that allowed them to sell their house without having to bring money to the table, without destroying their credit completely. And I made $16,000 helping somebody solve the problem. REO stands for real estate owned, bank-owned properties. Banks do not want to own real estate. They're not in the real estate business. So I took it off the bank's hands, solving the bank's problem. I flipped it, made $36,000. Guy had a legal problem, had to sell a house by Friday. A realtor cannot sell your house by Friday. I can help you sell your house by Friday, wholesaled it, and I made $5,000. Got a property subject to my specialty, no money, no credit, flipped it, $68,000, $5,600 on an assignment deal, $6,000 on a mortgage assignment, $10,000 on a wholesale, $2,800 on a small referral, $12,400 for a large referral. The way this business works is as follows. We do things to find people with problems. And here's the beautiful part. For every problem that exists, there is no exception. So I'll repeat that. For every problem that exists, we have a solution, a strategy. I'm going to show you a bunch of strategies. The strategy that helps them solve their problem gets us paid. We can help motivated sellers. We can help non-motivated sellers. We can help people that own their houses free and clear. We can help people that are hopelessly underwater where they owe more money than the house is even worth. We can help them to solve the problem and get paid. Sometimes we get singles. Sometimes we get doubles. Sometimes we get home runs. Sometimes I work on a lead, a deal, an opportunity, a problem for 6 months, and after 6 months I make $5,000. I'm like, oh man, 6 months, $5,000. Huh, I could have made more money working at Walmart. Thank goodness I'm not working on just one lead at a time. Sometimes my phone rings and that phone call makes me $55,000 in 48 hours. I'm like, oh man, I wish every time my phone rang I made $55,000 in 48 hours. But that's not how it works either. That's maybe 1 in 100 phone calls. So the question to ask is, how often do you get 100 phone calls? That depends on how much marketing that you do, how much looking that you do. Do you get 100 phone calls a week? Do you get 100 phone calls a month? Do you get 100 phone calls a year? Well, that depends on you. You can determine that and how much marketing that you do, how many deals that you look at. So, 2 essential skills you have to learn to be a real estate investor. What are the skills? The first and foremost skill is, of course, marketing. And marketing is what? Marketing is finding the deal. It's generating the lead. What is a lead? A lead is just a name and number of somebody that might want to sell real estate. We need to spend 85% of our time and money on marketing, generating leads, finding deals, outsource everything else. The next skill we have to learn is strategy. Strategy is the product, the service that we offer. We buy houses. We help people sell houses and get rid of houses and mortgages they don't want or can't afford. We do that in a variety of different ways. It solves a variety of different problems. So marketing and strategy, finding deals and doing deals, finding problems, solving problems. These are the two skills we have to learn. I'm going to teach you 65 methods of finding off-market wholesale properties. I got a little adjustment on the camera there. There we go. I'm going to show you 65 ways to find off-market, because we buy off-market. I'm going to show you a dozen strategies to help people solve their problem and get yourself paid. And by the way, half of the marketing methods I'm going to show you are completely free. And 9 of the 12 investing strategies are actually no money and no credit strategies. And when you learn how to buy houses with no money and no credit, then how many houses can you buy? All of them. How many do you want to buy? All of them. Yeah, when I shout out a question, if you just say all of them, you're probably going to get it right. I'm just going to give you a little tip. So yeah, all of them. So marketing strategy, finding deals, doing deals, finding problems, solving problems. Let's get started with the marketing. Actually, first, I'm going to tell you a little story. This was actually my very first deal. This was actually the very first house I flipped on December 15, 2003. But I'll tell you a story. On December 14th, 2003, I was scared to death. I was actually being coached and mentored by the guy who ran this Real Estate Investor Association. I called him on the phone the day before I did I'm scared. Are you sure this is going to work? I don't want to lose any money. Yeah, and his partner. It took 2 of them, 2 seasoned, experienced real estate investors, pulling me, kicking and screaming over the starting blocks to get me to do that first deal. So if you're scared, I get it, I can relate, and I can help. But I had one other thing that also motivated me at that time in my life to take action. I was in a job I no longer loved, and I was in a career that I no longer loved. And I'm going to tell you, if you're spending your time doing something you don't love doing, you need to do something different with your life plan. Okay, and that's where I was. I just needed a different life. And I got to tell you, you get one life. And it just races by. My wife and I recently had a baby boy. And this last weekend, I noticed there was a 15-year-old running around in my house. It's like, what happened? He's taller than me. He was this tall, and now he's this tall. I guess you feed him and that happens. I don't know. It's like, what happened to the last 15 years? It was just a blink of the eye, right? And that's life. It's just a blink of the eye. And I got to tell you, if you're not on a trajectory to getting the life that you want, maybe it's time to change the trajectory. We actually sponsor a show where every single week we interview somebody in this network. Olivia was talking about that. She's the host. She does the interviews. Who's now typically a millionaire, multimillionaire. And we always ask them the same question. What's your biggest regret? And I'm going to tell you, we've never not gotten the same answer. Ask any millionaire real estate investor on the planet, what is your single biggest regret? And every single one will say the same thing. I wish I started sooner. Like now would be good. Like you don't want to say 5 years from now, I wish I started back in 2024. Because I don't want to have this talk again. You know, I've been teaching for years, and sometimes I see somebody, and it's like, didn't I see you 10 years ago? And it's like, yeah, I was busy, I didn't do it. You know, it's like, well, 10 years later, you know, we could do it now, but still, 10 years, 10 years, 10 years. So let me tell you a little bit more about that first deal. And I'm going to tell you, your first deal is your most important deal. Kind of like your first kiss. Everybody remembers their first kiss, right? Life-changing experience. Everybody remembers their first deal. Life-changing experience. I'll tell you about mine. It took me 6 months to find my first deal. I was actually an unusually slow starter. And I got it under contract using a contract I got right here at the REIA. I got some money, other people's money, private money lender loaned me the money. We have 1,000 private money lenders in this network. Got a contractor right here in the network to fix it for me. Got a realtor here in the network to sell it for me. Got a title company and attorney here in the REIA to close it for me. And I went to that very first closing and picked up that very first check, $15,384.26. And you know, when they handed me that check, it was like you unscrewed the cap, popped out the old brain, popped in the new brain. Because right up until the moment that they handed me that check, I was a real estate investor based on theory. And I wasn't even sure I believed the theory. I don't know if this is going to work, not sure about that, don't know about this other thing. But the second they handed me that check, it became what? It became a real estate investor based on experience. I didn't know anything different, except I knew it actually worked. And what I realized when they handed me that check is if I did this and this and this again, I get another check. Worked the first time. If I did this, this, and this again, I get another check. If I did this, this, this again, I get another check. But the big, big deal that I realized when they handed me that check, right at that moment, I realized that I would never, ever, 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 for the rest of my life, ever have to work for somebody else. Ever, 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 never, ever again. Yeah, and I have not worked for even 1 second for anybody else since they handed me that check. So if you're new and you're just getting started, here's my first piece of advice. You need to focus yourself like a laser beam on that very first deal. That very first deal will change your life, mostly by changing your mindset. I promise you deals 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 combined, not as hard as deal number 1. It's all about deal number 1. So I told you I was going to tell you what I did right. I'm also going to tell you what I did wrong. I made one huge rookie mistake right out of the chute that every rookie makes. I spent all that time finding the deal. I found the deal. Once I found the deal, I kind of put my marketing on hold. I picked up a hammer. I started managing those contractors, working on the deal. I finished the deal. I got the check. I woke up the next day only to realize I had absolutely nothing to do. Well, you know, except start my whole business all over again. And this gets me to my very first takeaway, and this is it, and this is probably the biggest one of the night. And here it is. The business of being a real estate investor is the business of finding deals. It's all about finding deals. Why? Because you make your money on the buy. What does that mean? As soon as you find a property, get it under contract, you know what? Whatever money was going to be made or not made, done. Yeah, you get the money at the end on the sell, but you make the money on the buy. And once you understand that, you need to always spend 85% of your time and money on marketing, looking for your next deal. Because your next deal, I guarantee, is more important than the deal you have now. And the rookies all screw that up. Your next deal is always more important than the deal you have now. And what the rookies do is this. They find a deal, they finally find a deal, they make some money, great, but while they're working on the deal, they're not looking for the next deal. So they reset the marketing. Eventually they get it going again. Eventually they find another deal. They do a deal, they make some money, great, but while they're working on the deal, they're not looking for the next deal. So they reset the marketing. Eventually they get it going again. They find another deal, they do a deal, great, make some money, great, but they stop the marketing. And their income goes up and down with big gaps in between. You need your income to go up, 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 up. And the only way you do that is you have to keep the pipeline continuously filled with deals. And the only way you do that is you always spend 85% of your time and money on marketing, looking for the next deal. Never stop looking for the next deal, because your next deal is always more important than the deal you have now. And hint, the deals you are looking for are not on the MLS. The MLS is the multiple listing service. It's the retail market for real estate. It's where realtors sell real estate. It's where all the people in the world compete with each other to see who will pay the most. And I hate to say it, but when you're competing against all the people in the world, some of those people are stupid. And you don't want to compete against stupid. Well, you don't want to win competing against stupid. Now, don't get me wrong, folks. I love the MLS. I adore the MLS. Why do I love and adore the MLS? Because after I buy off-market wholesale real estate, where do I then want to go to resell it? Yeah, on the MLS. It has been proven that any property listed on the MLS will sell for the most it could possibly be sold for. That's just never where you're going to find heavily discounted wholesale real estate. The very best deal in the entire MLS would rarely be a deal I would even take a second look at. So finding deals, right? Oh, this is the rookie mistake, right? It's the standard go. Deal, reset the marketing. Deal, reset the marketing. Income up and down and up and down and up and down. Okay, so finding deals, right? You need to spend 85% of your time and money finding deals. Don't ever forget that. Your next deal is always more important than the deal you have now. You never stop marketing. So finding deals. Once I realized this whole shoot and match is really about finding deals, then finally I really started systematizing the process of finding deals. I'm going to show you what I learned, right? And I developed 65 ways to find deals. Well, you know, actually that's not really completely accurate to say I developed 65 ways. It would probably be more accurate to say I found 65 things that work and I started to do those things. In fact, I need to teach you all a really important lesson, maybe the most important lesson I'm going to teach you today. But for me to teach you this next lesson, first I need to unteach you all something. Okay, so I got to unteach you all something. When you guys are in elementary school, if you looked over the paper next to you and you copied down the answers, that was called what? Cheating. And you're all told that cheating is what? Bad, wrong. Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay, we're not a bunch of little kids. We're not in elementary school anymore. Going forward, I need you all to unlearn that. Because going forward, guess what? Cheating is actually the shortcut. What am I saying? What I'm trying to say is this. There's nothing you're trying to do. There's absolutely nothing that you're trying to figure out that I and other people haven't done and figured out. Everything, and I mean everything, and I mean like absolutely everything about this business has been completely figured out. We know what's in the soil. We know the zoning. We know the guys that write the zoning. We know the appreciation rate down to the street address in all the major streets in all the major cities across the state of Texas. We know the exact letters to send to the exact mailing list. We know the exact words to say. We know the exact offers to make. We know exactly what objections we're going to get. We know exactly how to overcome the objections. We even know, on average, how many contracts we're going to get signed for every 20,000 letters we send out. Everything, and I mean everything, and I mean absolutely everything about this business has been completely figured out. And once I realized everything I was trying to do and everything I was trying to figure out, other people had done and figured out, I stopped trying to figure everything out, and I just started to, here's this word, copy, right? Copy the 65 tested, proven methods of finding off-market wholesale properties. And I'm going to show you what those are. Now, some of these methods take time. Some of these methods take money. When you get started, you're probably going to have more time and less money. Once you get going, you're going to have more money and less time. I will be honest with you. I don't spend any time anymore on marketing. I outsource 100%. But when you're getting started, you're probably going to insource a lot. So then what are all these different marketing methods? Well, let me show you a whole bunch. The first set of strategies has to do with mailing lists, marketing lists. Marketing lists. What do you do with a marketing list? Well, you can do all kinds of things with a marketing list. You can send them mail, letters and postcards, or you can call them, or you can text them, or you can email them, or you can knock on their door, or you can use that system we talked about earlier where you have a chat bot that's texting and conversing with them and scheduling appointments with them while you're sleeping, okay, with thousands of them. Or you can do a combination of all of those things, which we call a multi-touch campaign. So there's all kinds of things that you can do, even while you're sleeping, right, to get leads from prime marketing lists. So what are some of the marketing lists? Well, you can get a list of people that didn't pay their property taxes, okay? People that are late paying their mortgage, 30, 60, 90, or 120 days late paying their mortgage. People that have filed for divorce. Two people were combining their income to pay a mortgage. Now one of them's gone. Well, the one that's left is probably having trouble paying the mortgage by themselves. You can get a list of people that have inherited a house from somebody that passed away. People whose credit scores are starting to fall. People that just got dismissed from bankruptcy. Certainly a lot of financial distress there. You can get a non-owner occupied list. There's a list of people that own a house where they don't live in the house that they own. Well, technically, those are landlords. And a lot of them are what we call accidental landlords. They couldn't sell the house, so they rented the house. Or they let an ex-family member, a friend, or an ex-spouse live in the house. Or they inherited a house that has a tenant in it. They didn't really plan on being a landlord. They just kind of ended up as a landlord. They don't really know how to be a landlord. Eventually, they very often become motivated sellers. You can get a list of people who rent to people on public assistance, you get a code enforcement list. The city is already driving around looking for abandoned houses, hoarder houses, deferred maintenance houses, right? Problem houses. And do you know you can get a list of every problem house in the city from the city? That's called the code enforcement list. You can even get an expired listing list. There's a list of people that hired a realtor, put it on the market, tried for a long time to sell it, and it didn't sell. So what do we know about these people? We know 100% of these people would like to sell their home, probably now more than ever. But they probably need solutions that realtors don't offer. Hello, that's what we offer, right? So if you send letters, postcards, door knocks, text messages, phone calls, whatever to these lists of people with problems, some of them are going to call you back. It is a statistical numbers game. If you make them an offer that solves their problem, we have an offer for every problem. Some of them will say yes. It is a statistical numbers game. In a minute, I'm going to give you the numbers. Okay, with the website, you can get leads on the internet. Bandit signs, little plastic signs, say we buy houses. Why do you see those signs on the side of the road? Because they actually work. Online ads work. Email, autoresponders. Magnetic sign, you put a little sign on the side of your car, you wrap your car, you get leads for the rest of your life. Door hangers, you don't want to pay postage. For 10 cents a door, you can have your door flyer put on every door in a neighborhood. Okay, here's one that's pretty much free, driving for dollars. Sometimes I'm just driving around and I see a tarp on a roof. You know, they might as well be waving a big red flag. Desperate, motivated seller, please buy my house. I mean, think about this. Somebody's most valuable asset, a house, has a serious problem, a leak, and their solution was to go buy a $5 tarp at Home Depot. How come they didn't fix the roof? No money. Same guy not fixing the roof, not paying his insurance, not paying his taxes, probably not paying his mortgage. Sooner or later, an investor is going to pick up that deal. All right, what are the other ways to find off-market deals? Oh, wait, we interrupt this program for a special announcement. Actually, we made the announcement, so, oops. Yeah, I actually did this already. So, yeah, okay, so we have some training coming up. If you would like to get some training, we have some training coming up. By the way, I do the training myself. I love teaching this stuff. So I do the whole thing. Practical, actionable, detailed, Texans teaching Texans how to invest in Texas. We teach all 12 real estate investing strategies. You got to know them all, and they're all awesome. And 9 of them are no money strategies, and 3 of them are money strategies. 65 ways to find the deals off markets. Closes. What are the closes? Closes is my favorite thing to teach. Closes are the words you say to get somebody to accept your solution to their problem. You're offering their property. It's how you negotiate with closes. So I'll give you an example. Recently, I went to a woman here in Texas, and I said some magic words to her. And by simply uttering these magic words to this woman here in Texas, she gave me her house. A beautiful house. I didn't have to give her any money at all. Beautiful house. Nothing wrong with the house. The house in perfect condition. A lot of equity in the house. She just handed me the keys, gave me the deed, gave the house to me. Didn't have to give her any money at all. And she even said, thank you for taking my house because of these magic words. So who's feeling a little skeptical right now? Raise your hand if you're feeling skeptical right now. Okay? Okay. Who's not feeling skeptical right now? Seriously? What do I have to say to make you skeptical? I just claimed that I have magic words like Jack and the Beanstalk, only mine are not magic beans. I have magic words, and by simply stating magic words, somebody just gave me their house, and you believe me. Okay, all right, pretty good. I'm doing well with you. Okay, great, great. We have a land deal we're going to talk about after class, so just come back. Okay, I'm going to try this again, okay? I have magic words, and by simply saying magic words, I can get a woman to give me her house for no money, a beautiful house with nothing wrong with the house, right? Just give it to me. Hand me the keys, the deed, say, here's my house, take my house. Thank you for taking my house. So who's feeling a little skeptical right now? Raise your hand if you're feeling a little skeptical right now. I want you to be skeptical. I am baiting you to be skeptical. I'm trying really hard here, guys. So please remain skeptical. Because the more skeptical you are right now, the more amazed you're going to be a couple of minutes from now when I demonstrate what I actually said and how it actually worked. Okay, but those are the closes, which are really cool to teach. Learn how to partner. Great way to get started. Partner. And people are always like, why would a multimillionaire want to partner with me? Well, I got a piece of advice. If you ever want to do business with somebody operating a higher business stature than you, how do you do that? It's simple. You're going to have to help them before they're going to help you. That's how life works. So what could you possibly do to get like a multimillionaire real estate investor to want to help you? Bring them a money-making deal, because that's what they want, and then offer to split the profits, because that's exactly what they want, and that can be a win-win. You don't have to, but that can be a great win-win. Right, so I'm going to teach you how to find the deal, how to access funding. We have 1,000 private money lenders. So yeah, we do this live and in person. It's a 3-day. I teach the whole thing myself, dusk to dawn, and I love doing it. So if you're interested, we are going to hand out some worksheets for those of you that want to get it. We also have a follow-up class that is commercial. So we kind of do the residential phase 1, phase 2, and then we do commercial phase 3, phase 4, which are all good. So these are the dates, and these are the specific locations. So come join us. Any of the dates, the event is the same. They're just in 3 different cities. You can come in live and in person. I recommend that you do, or you can come online. And again, we'll hand out a form in a little while, and you can sign up if you would like to join us. And for you guys online, we'll post a link online, and you can sign up online and join us. You can even come for free. So how cool is that? But let's get back to the marketing and talk about the other ways to find deals. And the next one I'm going to tell you about is letters of intent. So what is a letter of intent? A letter of intent is an offer. So the question is, who should you send an offer to? The answer, everybody. So I'm going to give you all your first homework assignment. Tomorrow, I want each of you to send 300 people an offer on their home. I'm not kidding. Because here's how investors think. Ready, fire, aim. You make the offer, and then you negotiate. You make the offer, and then you look for the money. You make the offer, and then you do your due diligence. You make the offer, and then, and only then, do you think about it. You should make everybody an offer. Why not? Do you know here in Texas, every time you make somebody an offer on their home, you get 4 different options. You might want to write them down. Option number 1, you can buy a house, because they might say yes. If you take 300 shots on goal, what do you think is going to happen? Something's going in, even if you suck. And with practice, what do you think is going to happen? More of them go in, because with practice, you don't suck. Make 300 offers. Somebody's going to say yes. So option number 1, you can buy a house. Option number 2, you can terminate the offer. You know the Texas state promulgated contract gives the buyer the unilateral right to just rip it up, terminate, walk away, no harm, no foul, no risk, no penalties at all. Option number 3, you can renegotiate the offer after you make it. That's another option. You know it's much, much easier to renegotiate than it is to negotiate, especially when everybody that calls you back says what? They might want to sell, i.e. they want to negotiate. Option number 4, you can actually sell your contract to somebody else that wants to buy a house. Notice only one of those 4 options even required you to come up with any money to buy a house. Just make offers by the hundreds and give yourself options by the hundreds. So why so many different marketing methods? FSBO, for sale by owner. Why would somebody try to sell their own house? Maybe they're lazy, maybe they're crazy, maybe they need solutions realtors don't offer, and that's what we do offer. Why so many different marketing methods? Well, would you rather fish with a hook, or would you rather fish with a net? And the answer is, you need to fish with a net. And the reason is because this business is a numbers game, and now I am going to teach you the numbers. I'm going to teach you something right now that it took me 2 years of hard work in the trenches to figure out. So I'm going to shave 2 years of your learning curve, just like that. By 2005, I was a real estate investor for 2 years. I calculated in my first 2 years, I generated about 400 leads. What's a lead? A lead is just a name and number of somebody that might want to sell real estate. So I was talking to somebody every couple days, and then I did the math. And here's what I discovered. It took me 2 years to figure this out. On average, for every $100 I spent on paid marketing, things like direct mail, I got one qualified motivated seller lead. On average, for every 3 hours I spent on personal marketing, things like just driving around, driving for dollars, I got one qualified motivated seller lead. Then I figured out as a rookie, on average, for every 20 leads I got, I made at least $20,000 net profit on a deal. So let me run the numbers for you. That means every time I drove around 60 hours, I made at least $20,000 net profit. That means every time I sent out $2,000 in direct mail, I made at least $20,000 in net profit. Okay, spend $2,000, make 20. Spend $2,000, make 20. Spend $4,000, make 40. Spend $8,000, make 80. Spend $16,000, make 160. Spend $32,000. You don't have to spend it all at once, by the way. Make $320,000 net profit. Are you starting to like the numbers? It took me 2 years to figure that out. But after 2 years in the trenches, I realized this, holy cow, this whole business is just a numbers game, and now I know the numbers. And I started to think about this business in a very different way once I realized this. I now see this business, my business, I see the whole thing like it's a little black box. And the way that, I call that little black box, I call it a marketing machine. And the way that little black box works, every time I stick $100 in one end, eventually $1,000 worth of net profit pops out the other end. Now, if you had a little black box, every time you shoved a $100 bill in one end, a $1,000 bill popped out the other end, how many dollars would you stick in the box? All of them, exactly. And I started spending money on marketing like a drunken sailor because I knew. I started spending thousands of dollars a month on marketing. And then I started spending tens of thousands of dollars a month on marketing. And then I hired 2 full-time, 6-figure guys that work for me to this day, and 100% of their time is spending my money on marketing. One just runs the ads, the other does analytics. And today I spend, in some months, up to $100,000 a month on marketing. Because once you know, it's just a numbers game, and once you know the numbers, you know, dial it in, and then you dial it up. You just turn it up until it just doesn't go up anymore. So yeah, numbers game. Sometime later, I actually wrote a book on investing. I don't offer a book anymore. I'm not a big believer in books for real estate. I'll tell you why later. Real estate's not complicated. It's just so many details. It's really more like learning a language than learning a skill. But you can't really learn a language from reading a book, right? And you can't really learn real estate from reading a book. It doesn't hurt you, but it's not going to help that much. But I will say something I said before. Everything you're trying to do, everything you're trying to figure out, I and other people have done and figured out. So you definitely want to copy what's been figured out. Okay, so we got one more part of the presentation. I'm about to do the final part of the presentation where we're going to get into the strategies, the mechanics of the deals, which is maybe the most fun part of the presentation. But before I do that, I do want to say one other thing. At the beginning of this presentation, I said my job is to make you educated, contributing members of this community. And we really want you to be participatory. We do these meetings all over Texas. And we always have new people that come to the meetings. And we call the new people tourists. Like, honey, let's go check out the REIA, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with that. But we figured out a long time ago that nobody actually makes any money being a tourist. We need people to be active. Because when people are active, like buying, selling, partnering, investing, lending, borrowing, that's where we make money. But I also figured out a long time ago that unfortunately, I can't turn somebody into a real estate investor in 45 minutes. If I could figure out how to sprinkle pixie dust on everybody and turn them into all the real estate investors in 45 minutes, yeah, that would be awesome. I don't know how to do that. But I can, and I have, on many occasions, turned people into very successful real estate investors over a period of 24 hours. Or maybe it would be more accurate to say 24 hours spread out over 3 days, giving us the time to actually get through all the nitty-gritty details of how we do this. And this is why we teach the Flipping Texas REIAs Real Estate Investing Workshop. And like I said, I teach this myself, practical, actionable, detailed. Texans teaching Texans how to invest in Texas using strategies that work here. Thousands, and I mean thousands, of the most successful investors in Texas got started at this workshop, the real deal, the one and only Flipping Real Estate Investing Workshop. Thousands. In fact, we feature a show where every week we interview somebody that got trained at this workshop who's now typically a millionaire or multimillionaire. I don't know of any other organization on the planet that can point to a member on a weekly basis that's now typically a millionaire or a multimillionaire directly from being part of that organization. But we actually can do that. We're very proud of that. So if you'd like to come join us, you can come join us. And we're doing a 3-city tour, live and in person, and we're simulcasting online. Some of the things we're going to learn during the workshop, besides what you see on the agenda, we have heat maps, proprietary heat maps. We're going to show you down to the street level exactly which part of the city to buy and hold in and which part of the city to fix and flip in. And we're going to explain exactly why. We're going to show you millions of data points so you know. This is like huge, right? Knowing where to buy and hold is huge, right? And it's going to make a huge difference in your future wealth, because if you do anything, buy rental properties for the long term. How to get off-market deals from wholesaling, outsourcing. I have a team of virtual assistants in the Philippines where they speak American English, and $5 or $10 an hour is a fortune because of the exchange rate to get a college-educated person to do marketing for you even while you're asleep. We're going to show you how to do that. How to get paid offering free house remodels. I offered people, I will remodel your house for free. It's an incredible offer, and it's an incredibly lucrative offer, and I'm going to show you how you can get paid to offer to remodel people's houses for free. How about how to get 3% mortgages? Everybody's complaining about the interest rate. There's a new loan product, 3% interest, no credit check, no down payment required. Would anybody like that loan? Who would like that loan? 3% mortgage, right? No credit, no down payment. That's such a good idea. I'll tell you what, I'm going to show you that one in just a couple minutes. I'm actually going to show you that one in just a couple minutes, but we're also going to go into the details at the workshop. How about how to use AI? AI is changing everything. Well, I don't have time, frankly, to call 10,000 sellers, but I have a guy that does it for me. His name is Flip. He's actually an AI, right? And he works while I'm sleeping. And does a really good job, just tells me about the people that want to talk. How to use VAs to find both residential and commercial deals. These are just little tidbits of some of the cool stuff we're going to be talking about during the workshop. So we're doing this online, we're doing it in person. If you'd like to join us, pick the city and date that works best for you and come join us online and in person. Now, I am going to offer you something else to go along with this. You're all here because somewhere you read about your Real Estate Investor Association. I'd love to have you as members of the Real Estate Investor Association. They say if you have the slightest interest in real estate, you should join your local Real Estate Investor Association. This is the only organization in Texas that actively pays lobbyists to lobby on behalf of Texas real estate investors. The laws are sometimes not in our favor. We're the only ones that actually lobby to protect the real estate investors' interest in Texas. A few years ago, we came this close for the wraparound mortgage getting outlawed in Texas. If it was not for this organization, it would be outlawed today. So if you'd like to join the REIA, you get some great benefits to go along with this. You get to, when you come to the workshop is free, but when you come to the workshop, you come as a VIP, which means you get to sit up front. You get VIP lunches and VIP lunch sessions. So if I'm going to spend 3 days with something, I certainly want to be a VIP personally. You get to have our online access. Who would like 20,000 buyers to sell properties to? Raise your hand if you'd like 20,000 buyers. Okay, join the REIA. Who would like to have access to 1,000 private money lenders? Who would like 1,000 private money lenders? Okay, join the REIA. Okay, who would like to have access to off-market wholesale deals in the wholesale marketplace, one of the biggest wholesale marketplaces in Texas? Raise your hand. Okay, join the REIA. So that is one of the benefits of being a member of the REIA. We got a Texas Money Resource Guide, a training program, and some special events that we do constantly online. So join the REIA. Now, there is a cost to join the REIA, but it's not very expensive. In fact, we got a special deal. If you join the REIA, it is a whopping $100 to join the REIA if you join today. So please join the REIA. It is a great cause that comes with wonderful benefits. Like I said, you don't have to. We really want you to all be educated. We want you to get trained. We will allow you to come to the training for free. But if you can spare $100 or want to invest $100 in your education, I highly recommend that you do. And there's huge benefits for doing exactly that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to hand out a little form. And, oh, yeah, and if you join the REIA, you also get invited to our commercial workshop as well. So a number of you I know were interested in that, and that's something I recommend that you do after you do it. You also get a really cool poster. I'll show you the poster later, but this is basically what happens when an engineer becomes a real estate investor. I invent things. And I realized a long time ago, real estate's not that complicated. There's just a lot of details. And so I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to put all the details on a poster? So these are the 273 things you need to know to be a real estate investor. All the different investing strategies, all the different marketing campaigns, all the different sales and negotiating scripts, all the different operations like power teams and corporate structures, all the different financing strategies, analysis, due diligence. We have some of these posters. We'll bring one up later. But if you join the REIA, you also get a really cool poster, and you can hang it on your wall. It tells you what you need to know, and then you come to the workshop, and I'm going to teach you this stuff at the workshop. So that is my little pitch for the REIA. I want all of you to get the training. I would like all of you to join the REIA as well. I get it, $100 may be tough for some people. If it is, then don't do it. But if you can do it, I would definitely recommend that you do. For you guys online, we're going to go ahead and post a link online. For you guys live, do we have some forms to hand out? Can you hand those out? Do we have anybody else that can help you hand out forms? Oh, okay. All right, well, we're going to hand out forms. So let me just show you the form. Simple form, and I'll show you what the form looks like. For you guys online, you click on the link online. So the form is really simple. Obviously, you put your name and email up at the top. Oops. Make sure it is legible, because if it's not legible, your tickets will get sent to somebody else, and you definitely don't want that to happen. So at the top, you put your name and email. What's happening here? Why is my form not appearing? There it is. Okay. We have the 3 cities, Austin, Dallas, and Houston. The date on the form is day 1 of the 3 days. So pick the city you want. You don't have to go to Dallas. The Austin event is exactly the same. So pick it by the date. And some people actually like to go to another city. Maybe you have family you want to bring with you. Yes, you can bring a spouse, business partner, significant other with you. I highly recommend that you do. If you're a member of the REIA, you can even bring them as a VIP. You don't have to pay extra for that. So pick the date that works best for you. Tell us if you're going to come online or if you're going to come in person. Notice it is free. We have charged up to $1,000, and I know other people do, but we have a special offer right now, and we all want you to get it. If you can join the REIA, please join the REIA. Check this box if you also want to join the REIA, and it is a $100 charge to join the REIA. So free for the event, $100 for the REIA. Add those up, which is either 0 or 100. We also have a whole bunch of other resources that are available to you guys. We'd like to match you up. That's why we do these little QR codes with resources. Some of you might want to invest in some different syndications. Some of you might want to get additional training. Some of you might want to go into commercial, whatever. If you tell us a little bit more about you, we can kind of match you up with some resources that might be relevant to you. So go ahead and fill out the form. You have plenty of time. We're going to collect these forms at the end, and we're still handing them out, so we got time. But that's basically it. For you guys online, just fill out the form online. For you guys online, if you join the REIA and you want to get your poster, when you come to the workshop, we will give you your poster at the workshop. But you still get all the benefits of REIA membership. Okay, so pick the date and location that works best for you, and we will see you there. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the logistics for the workshop at the end. But now what I want to do is I want to get back into the training. So let's talk about the training. So marketing, check. We just gave you a lot of marketing. Now let's talk about the strategies and the mechanics of how these deals actually work. So people ask me all the time, well, Phil, what's the best strategy? Everybody wants the silver bullet. Like, what's the best strategy? And I'm going to answer that question for you right now. But I'm going to tell you there's a lot of different strategies. There's a lot of ways that you can be a real estate investor. You can do short sales. You can do buy and hold. You can do mortgage assignments, auction options. You can do referrals. You can do wholesaling, contracts for deeds. You can do lease options, house swapping. You can do wraparound mortgages, equity partnering, and of course you can do fix and flip. And you can certainly spend a lot of time and money on all this training and education. In fact, my wife and I have actually spent over $100,000 on training, seminars, coaching. Most of it was great. Some of it was not great. It all sounded great. But I don't feel bad about spending $100,000 on our education because we've made many millions of dollars from our education. But I do have a little pet peeve at how most people teach and how most people get taught. So here's the good news, guys. All these strategies. The good news is they all work. All of these strategies can make you money investing in real estate. And I'm a big proponent, know them all, right? The bad news is that each of these strategies only works in unique situations. You see, each of these strategies is actually the solution to a specific problem or situation. But remember what I said earlier, your job one is to find the deal. Let's go back to job one, finding the deal. Here's a brand new investor, and I'm going to show you another one of these huge rookie mistakes, because this is rookie mistake number 2. And this investor is looking for a deal, so he does some marketing, and he generates a lead. The lead is what? Somebody might want to sell a house. Well, if this guy had gotten the right training, he would have learned how to help that particular seller solve their particular problem using a strategy called a wraparound mortgage. But that's not the training he got. This guy just went to one of those wholesale seminars. All he learned how to do was wholesaling. So he's looking for a wholesale deal, but he didn't find one. He found a wrap deal. But he doesn't know how to do that, so he can't help the seller, and he can't solve that problem, and he can't make money on that lead. So what's he going to do? He's going to do some more marketing. He's going to generate another lead. And now if he only knew how to do a mortgage assignment, he could solve a problem and get a check. But he doesn't know how to do that because all he knows how to do is wholesaling. So he does some more marketing, he generates another lead. Now if he only knew how to do an auction option, he could solve that problem and get that check, which is probably going to be a pretty good check, but he doesn't know how to do that because all he knows how to do is wholesaling, and he's still looking for a wholesale deal. Are you starting to see a problem? This is huge rookie mistake number 2, right? And almost every rookie makes this problem, right? Most of the training out there, most of the workshops and training out there, what they all say is this, right? You need to get started by learning one strategy, and this is the best strategy. No, this is the best strategy. No, this is the best strategy. Oh, well, whatever. You need to learn a strategy, make money on that strategy. Then after you learn how to make money on that strategy, later on you can learn some other strategy. And it sounds pretty good, it feels pretty good, but forgive my language when I say this, that is a completely ass-backwards way to go about this. Saying that you need to learn one strategy and you need to make money on one strategy before you learn the other strategy, right? That's kind of like saying you need to go to Las Vegas and learn how to bet on one number on the roulette wheel. And only after you make enough money betting over and over and over again on that one number on the roulette wheel, later on you can learn how the other numbers work. Well, that's ridiculous. Yet that's how 95% of real estate investors get started investing in real estate. And it's no surprise that 95% of real estate investors give up before they ever get going, right? Well, I'm going to teach you what the top 5% of investors do, right? And my advice is to play to be in the top 5% or don't bother, because they make all the money. So here's how I do it, and here's how I'm going to teach you how to do it. I bet on all of the numbers on the wheel, and I spin the wheel a lot. What do I mean by that? I use all 12 strategies. I teach all 12 strategies. Why not learn all 12 ways to fill out a contract? Why not learn all 12 ways to solve a problem? You spend time and money, it's called marketing, to get somebody with a problem to call you. If there's a way to help them and solve the problem and get paid, you need to help them and solve the problem and get paid. And once you know all 12 strategies, we have a strategy, a solution for every problem that exists, every address that exists. There is no exception. We can help motivated sellers, non-motivated sellers, free and clear, underwater. We can help them, we can solve their need and get ourselves paid, right? That's betting on every number on the wheel. And then after you learn how to do that, what do you want to do next? You want to spin the wheel a lot. That means do a lot of marketing, look at a lot of deals, take a lot of shots on goal. Give yourself a lot of chances at being lucky. This is what the top 5% of investors do. My advice, play to be in the top 5% or don't bother, because they make all of the money. So you got to know all of the strategies. I'm going to teach you a bunch of strategies. Actually, first let me tell you another story. This will be a fun story. This was my first big deal. After I was a real estate investor for just over 2 years, I flipped this house. And I actually made $291,000 flipping this house. Pretty good profit, net profit. But the more interesting part of this story is I was actually the 8th investor at bat. So what does that mean? It means 7 other real estate investors looked at this deal before me and passed on the deal. Now, how is that possible? How could 7 different real estate investors pass on a deal, an opportunity to make almost $300,000 profit on a deal? How's that even possible? I'm going to tell you. It's not just possible, it's typical. I'll tell you the rest of the story. First investor walks into this house, said, I'd love to buy your house, but you're underwater. You owe more money than the house is worth. You can't even afford to sell me the house. Second investor walks into this house, said, I'd love to buy your house, but you're in bankruptcy. I can't buy a house from somebody in bankruptcy. Third investor walks into this house and says, well, I can help you avoid a foreclosure by doing something called a short sale, but I can't do that while you're in bankruptcy. Plus you have a mid-construction project. I don't do mid-construction. I walked into this house and I said, my, oh my, oh my, you have a lot of big problems here, don't you? Big problem means what? Big opportunity. It took 3 different strategies to solve this guy's problem. I solved the problem. I got the check. My competition was a bunch of one-trick ponies. Most of my competitors are a bunch of one-trick ponies. 30,000 YouTube videos teach people how to be one-trick ponies. One-trick ponies are annoying, they get in the way at times, but they don't last long. Guys, if you think you're going to find pretty houses at big discounts just waiting for you, hanging off of trees, yeah, you're smoking crack, okay? This is what opportunity looks like. A big bundle of problems with a nice, pretty bow around it. I want a house where half the house burned down. I want a house that had a meth lab that exploded in the garage. I want a house that flooded. I want a house that has mold. I want a house where someone was murdered in the living room. Oh, yeah. You can make a killing on a murder house. I own one. How do you make a killing on a murder house? No pun intended, right? Stigma. Murder's not common, but stigma's common. Stigma house. Let me give you a clue. What do you think it cost to buy a murder house? Anybody want to guess? Cheap. Not much. 20 cents on the dollar. You know what everybody says when they look at that house? They point at that house. That's a murder house. And a year later, everybody going by that house, you know what they do? They point at that house. And they something bad happened in that house. And a few years later, they're going by that house, and they kind of look around. They're like, somewhere around here, something happened. About 5 years later, they go by that house, and what do they say? How much? Look at that nice house. Stigmas go away. I bought a house for $180. It's now worth $480. What did I do with it? I didn't do anything with it. I rented it to a guy that didn't mind living in a murder house. I gave him a deal. I just rented it out, and I waited for nothing except for time. Somebody gets shot in a bar, it's a crime scene. A few years later, it's a tourist attraction. There's all kinds of stigmas, but the point is that problems are opportunities, and big problems are big opportunities. You have to change your thinking. I'll give you another one. One of my students recently bought one of those $150,000 Teslas, and he calls it his air car. Air car. H-E-I-R, air car. Yeah, I paid cash for it, right? Air car. Somebody died without a will. Do you know that 2 out of 3 people don't have a will? Light bulb, opportunity, but they did have 42 heirs. And everybody said, no way, man, there's no way you're going to get 42 people to agree on something, big problem. Well, he rolled up his sleeves, and it took a little effort, but eventually got 42 people to agree that a little bit of something is a whole lot better than a whole lot of nothing. And now he's driving around a $150,000 air car. Problems are opportunities. Big problems are big opportunities. We are real estate investors, entrepreneurs. We help the world by solving the world's real estate problems. So we use marketing to find people with problems, and then we use the strategies to solve the problems. So let me teach you a couple strategies. I only have a little more time, so I'll teach you 2 strategies. The first strategy I'm going to teach you tonight is wholesaling. It's actually the easiest one to teach. I'll teach you right now. How does this work? We simply find a property and get it under contract. How much does it cost to get a property under contract? Nothing. Can we all afford that? Pretty sure we can. Right? And then after we get a property under contract, we have what's called an equitable interest in the property. The property, the contract itself, gives the owner of the contract the ability to do whatever the contract says. So we're going to take that contract and we're going to sell the contract to another investor in exchange for a fee. Okay, how much is the fee? Well, it depends. $500 to $5,000 on a small deal, $10,000 to $25,000 on an average deal, $25,000 or more on a big deal. And this is a no money and no risk strategy. I've discovered it's actually really hard to lose money when you're not spending or investing any money. 9 of the strategies are no money, no risk strategies. So let me give you an example of a deal. And by the way, when you come to the workshop, here's how I teach. I teach by telling stories. I teach the theory. You're going to see the theory, but then I show the story. And you really learn from the story, right? Theory is theoretical, right? But then when you see somebody actually do it and how it works, then it really starts to make sense. So I'll give you an example of a story. This is Kimberly. She came to the workshop, and she did her first deal. This was her first deal. And she told me about this after the fact. And the story went like this. Her mom was visiting her from out of town. So she's in the car with her mom, and her mom's like, Kim, where are we going? Oh, well, Mom, we're going to get a house under contract. What? Kim, what are you talking about? Are you crazy? You just graduated from college. You don't have any money. You don't have any credit. You don't even have a job. What do you mean you're getting a house under contract? Don't worry, Mom, I know what I'm doing. So Kim's mom watched Kim walk into this house and offer the seller $265,000 cash for his house. And he signed the contract. Now, obviously, he was a motivated seller. Obviously, they talked on the phone ahead of time. Kim then took that contract and she posted it out to this network. This is why you want to be a member of the network. You know, multiple times a day and thousands and thousands and thousands of times over the last decade, the members of this network post their deals, questions, offers, references, resources, money back and forth on that network. So Kim just posted this deal, this contract out to the network, and guess what? Several other members of the network wanted to buy that deal, that contract from Kim. And one of the other members of the REIA negotiated and paid Kim $17,000 for a contract. So she just sold her contract to another member of the REIA for $17,000. So now Kim is a believer. Well, actually, Kim was a believer. Now Kim's mom is a believer. Now, what would Kim have done with the contract if nobody wanted to buy the contract? What would she do in the contract? Yep, terminate, exactly. Rip it up, walk away, no harm, no foul, no cost, no penalty. But she didn't need to. So then who bought the contract? Another member of the REIA by the name of Tatiana. I know her very well. Tatiana paid Kim $17,000 for the contract. It then became Tatiana's contract. Crossed Kim's name out where it said buyer, wrote her name in, or really her company's name in. Right? Gave Kim $17,000. She then got the contract. She, Tatiana, then bought the house for $265,000 cash. She had the cash. She kept it for 6 months as a month-to-month rental, and then she sold it after owning it for 12 months. And when she sold it, after doing a little renovation and a small addition, when she sold it, she made almost $100,000 of net profit. Then she only had to pay long-term capital gains taxes, no income taxes. Do you think Tatiana was pretty happy that Kim found that deal for her? What do you think? Yeah, you bet. So let's do a poll of the audience, get a little audience participation here. By a show of hands, I'm just curious, by a show of hands, how many of you are cash buyers? Raise your hand if you're a cash buyer. Okay, let me ask a different question. How much cash do you have to make a cash offer? 0. Well, then how much cash do you have to be a cash buyer? 0. You don't have to have any cash to make a cash offer. You don't have to have any cash to be a cash buyer. You just need to know people with cash. So let me ask you another question. Does anybody here know somebody that you could call if you got a smoking hot deal to buy a property for a big discount for cash? Does anybody know such a person? For example, who? Yeah, what do you think I'm doing over here, guys? Over here. Yeah, over here, guys. Please, you know. And in fairness, there's hundreds of guys just like me out on that network that would be pleased as punch, right? If you guys got out there, got some properties under contract, you don't want it for yourself, pitch it back to the group. That's why we want you. That's why we need you. That's why we will even train you. Think about that. Train you on how to be educated, contributing members of this network. But I can see that I have my work cut out for me. So let me try this one again. By a show of hands, how many of you are cash buyers? Raise your hand if you're a cash buyer. Oh, fantastic. I love talking room for cash buyers. And the network, join the network. The network instantly puts people with cash in connection with off-market wholesale deals, right? Instantly puts people with deals in connection with people with cash. Welcome to the wholesale market. I said earlier, you're not going to find your deal in the retail market, right? The MLS, it's the retail pond. That's the pond with the small fish. You need to fish in the wholesale pond. That's the pond with the big fish. Where's the wholesale pond? Yeah, you're sitting in it. Yeah, a large network of real estate investors who are trading back and forth. Welcome to the wholesale marketplace. All right, one more strategy, the last one of my favorite ones, and it's called buying a property subject to the mortgage. This is how you buy and own real estate even with no money and with no credit. I am a nationally recognized expert at teaching this strategy. It's possible I am the national expert, but I am certainly a national expert. I don't know that anybody has successfully taught as many people that have successfully done what I'm about to teach you how to do. So how does this work? How does real estate work? When somebody buys real estate, how does that work? They go to a title company, they sign a stack of documents. Most of the documents are disclaimers and disclosures, but there's two documents that get signed at the closing that make the transaction happen. The two documents that actively make something happen are the deed and the note. The deed and the note. Notice these are separate documents, a deed and a note. Okay, whosever name goes on the deed, that's who owns the house. Whosever name goes on the note, that's who's responsible for the mortgage. Separate documents, a deed and a note. Normally, it's the same guy that's on both. Guy buys a house, his name is on the deed, his name is on the note, he owns the house, and he's responsible for the mortgage. That's normal. He moves into the house, and it's his house, and all the rights and privileges, responsibilities, and benefits of homeownership, they all go to him. It's his house. At the end of the month, he gets a statement from the bank, says you owe us $1,000 for your mortgage, and he writes the bank a check for $1,000. Bank gets a check, they cash the check, bank's happy, he's happy, everybody's happy. That's how it works. And then the guy goes on to get married. And well, you know, Texas is a community property state. So when the guy gets married, the wife is added to the deed. Now there's two names on the deed, his and hers. Look at the tax records, there's two names on the deed, his and hers. But his name is still the only name on the note. Just because somebody has taken on or off the deed, that does not affect the note. And then time goes on, and things don't work out, and they get a divorce. And in their situation, the wife gets the house in the divorce. So now something kind of interesting has happened. Now her name is the only name left on the deed, but his name is still the only name on the note. So the question is, as long as he keeps sending a check to the bank every month, or she starts sending the bank a check every month, or a tenant or a property manager, a neighbor, investor, friend, or family member, or somebody sends the bank a check every month, the question is, does the bank actually care who wrote the check? What do you think? No. There's some dude sitting at the bank getting paid $8.92 an hour to open envelopes. He's like, oh, we got a check. It's for the right amount. Came on time and it cleared. We're good. So if you're listening to my story so far, I just told you all a story about a woman, about a spouse, about a person that was able to acquire real estate, end up owning real estate even with no money and with no credit. So there it is, a way to acquire real estate with no money and no credit. I told you I was going to teach you that. All right, so here's a really, really good story. Here's a really, really good part. You can all do exactly the same thing, and you don't have to get married to do it. Because here's the deal. Anybody, any of you could go up to any homeowner that has any loan from any lender on any house at any time, and you can make them an offer. The offer any of you can make with any homeowner that has any mortgage, any loan from any lender on any house at any time is this. Here's the offer. I will make the payments on your mortgage for you going forward. Or I will find somebody to make the payments on your mortgage for you going forward. What's the catch? You simply have to transfer the deed, hand the deed, which is ownership of the house, to me. It's called buying a property subject to the existing mortgage. You do this with any homeowner that has any loan from any lender on any house at any time. And the only person on the planet Earth that has to agree to this transaction is the person whose name is on the deed, not the bank. The bank has no legal say in this transaction. There are federal laws that regulate this transaction. Anybody can transfer their deed to anybody they want. Anybody can pay somebody else's mortgage if they want to. So if you're listening to me closely, here's what you just heard me say. You can buy any house in Texas from any homeowner in Texas that has any loan from any lender, and you can even buy that person's house at any time. And you can buy that person's house even with no money and with no credit by simply offering to take over the payment on their mortgage, or even offering to find somebody to take over the payment on their mortgage in exchange for them simply transferring the deed, which is ownership of the property, to you. And once you learn how to buy real estate with no money and with no credit, then how many houses can you buy? All of them. It's a very scalable process. When somebody's in financial distress, here's the thing. They got a house, they got a mortgage. Is the house the problem, or is the mortgage the problem? Owning a house is never a problem. Being responsible for a mortgage, that can be a big problem. If you solve the big problem by taking over the payment or finding somebody to take over the payment, in exchange for solving the big problem, you ask them to transfer the deed, which is ownership of the property, to you. So it's simply agreeing to pay a seller's mortgage going forward in exchange for the deed. Now, once they transfer the deed to you, guess what? You own it. You can do whatever you want with it. You can renovate it and retail sell it to somebody else. You can wrap it. You can assign it. You can keep it as a rental property. You can keep it as your own homestead if you'd like. I've helped many of my friends buy their very own homestead with this little or no money, no credit needed strategy. How much money can you make? Well, there's a lot of ways to make a lot of money when you're buying houses with no money and no credit. Small flip, $10,000 is pretty much at the very bottom end of the scale, typically a lot more, and this is another no money and no risk strategy. So let me show you an example of a deal. Let me show you an example of a deal. This is one of the $30 million worth of houses that I personally own here in Texas. And people ask me, how do I do that? Well, I'll tell you, if I bought $30 million worth of houses traditionally, I mean, think about it. I'd have to put down 20% every time I bought a house. I'd have to be a multi-millionaire just to become a millionaire. Well, I wasn't a millionaire when I was sitting in these chairs and learning how to invest in real estate. So how was I able to buy $30 million worth of houses? Well, most of them were bought using this trick that I'm showing you right now, including this one. So let me tell you about this one. A woman owned this house worth $150,000. She owed $110,000 on her mortgage. So this house has $40,000 of equity. She had the house rented out for $1,600 a month rent. The mortgage payment, including tax and insurance, is $1,100 a month. So this house is generating $500 a month of gross cash flow. Should have, could have, and it would have been a perfect rental property, except for one major problem. This woman had lost her job. She was continuing to collect the rent because she was living off of the rent, but she stopped paying the mortgage. 4 days before the first Tuesday of the month, when the bank was going to foreclose on her, I knocked on her door. Hello, can I help you? I am here to help you. But what can you do? There's no time. How can you help? They're going to foreclose. How can you help? What can you do? There's no time. How can you help? What can you do? Here's what I can do. I can stop the foreclosure. I can reinstate your loan. I can catch up your mortgage payments. I can make your mortgage payments for you going forward. I can even repair all your credit. Well, that's amazing. What's the catch? You simply have to transfer the deed, hand the deed, which is ownership of the house, to me. And she said, deal. Why in the world did she say deal? Because in 4 days, she's losing the house. That was a done deal. But she wasn't just going to lose the house. In addition to losing the house, she was going to get a little bonus to go along with it. What do you call that bonus? A foreclosure. A foreclosure. And you don't want a foreclosure. And this is how I explained a foreclosure to her. You may think a foreclosure is the end of your problem, but it's not. It's the beginning of a 10-year nightmare that starts with the sheriff and his deputies dragging you and your family and all of your possessions to the curb in front of your friends and neighbors. It's 10 years of dealing with the IRS, potentially garnishing your wages to collect on a 1099 that could be issued against you for up to the full value of your loan. It's 10 years of dealing with the lender potentially filing a lawsuit against you for up to the full value of the home. It's 10 years of dealing with creditors calling you day and night to collect on the judgment from the lawsuit. It's 10 years of not being able to buy another home, not being able to buy a car, not being able to get a credit card, not being able to open certain bank accounts or even rent certain apartments or even get certain jobs. But all that can be avoided by simply transferring the deed to me. And she said, here it is, and thank you. And she was thrilled. And the bank was thrilled because they didn't want the house back. They just wanted their money. And I gave them their money. And the tenants were thrilled because they didn't want to get kicked out of the house. They just wanted to keep renting the house. So I let them keep renting it for me. But mostly I was thrilled because for $4,500, which is what it cost me to reinstate this particular loan, I now own this beautiful $150,000 house. It came with a loan, came with $40,000 of equity, all mine, came with tenants, paying me $1,600 a month rent. After I paid the bank $1,100, I put $500 back in my pocket, and if you think that's cool, my wife and I own $30 million worth of these properties. Some of them took small amounts of money like this. Most of them honestly took more money than this, but then some of them took absolutely no money at all. So how many of you would like me to walk you step by step by step through how to do this deal? Who would like me to walk you through that? Okay, we're all out of time. I'm just pulling your legs. We're almost out of time. I got to finish. But let me finish. I will finish this. I do love this strategy, but I'll bet you don't know why I love this so much. Some of you are like, oh, you're making $500 a month. Yeah, that's not it. $500 is not going to affect my life or lifestyle at all. What I love about this strategy is by doing this over and over and over again, my wife and I were able to accumulate a portfolio that's now worth $30 million. That's what I love about this. In fact, just over the last 3 years, that portfolio appreciated, went up in value by more than 30%. In other words, just over the last 3 years, my wife and I became more than $10 million richer from having done this thing over and over again, this thing that required little or no money and no credit. That's what I love about this. This is the strategy that allows anybody, regardless of money or credit, to become multi-millionaires. Because I have news for you. No matter how much money you have, not enough. Not even close. You got $500,000, good for you. Go buy a house. Now you're done. Yep, that was it. Can't buy another one until you sell that one, right? No. Nobody has enough money. Nobody has enough credit. So you have to learn ways to do it with no money and other people's credit. And once you learn how to do that, you scale. It scales you up. There's no other way to scale up unless you learn these advanced strategies. This is how you become a multi-millionaire. And once I realized the wealth potential of this, I actually made one additional tweak to this strategy. I no longer buy these houses in my name. In fact, I no longer buy these houses in my company's name. Now when I buy these houses, I prefer to buy them in my IRA. How many of you are aware that you can do this transaction with your IRA? Okay, well, for the rest of you, you know you can do this transaction with your IRA. Come to the workshop. Directed Trust IRA. They'll set it up for you. We'll set it up for you. We'll set it up so you can do this with your IRA. So what happens when my IRA does this transaction? My IRA issues the $4,500 reinstatement fee to the bank. The deed transfers to the IRA. Every month, the property manager deposits $1,600 of rent into the IRA. Every month, the IRA issues a check automatically to pay the mortgage back to the bank, $1,100, and $500 goes back into the IRA. But that's not the good part. What's the good part? Over the next 25 years, this property will double in value. And it'll double again. And even at very, very conservative appreciation rates, it'll almost double a third time. Something interesting happens to the loan on this property over the next 25 years. What happens to the loan? Gets paid off by the tenants. Thank you, tenants. In other words, every time my IRA does this deal, my IRA ultimately ends up owning an asset worth about $1 million that by then I own free and clear. And because my IRA is also a Roth IRA, when I sell that asset in retirement, 100% of the proceeds are tax-free. Did y'all just see what I did? I just showed you how to turn a $4,500 IRA into one deal, $1 million tax-free doing one deal one time. Helping a woman out of a horrible situation. Helping a bank not take a property back they didn't want back. Helping tenants stay in a property they wanted to stay in. All that, doing it once. The average retired person at the age of 65 has a net worth of $62,000. It's pathetic. You do this one deal one time, you're 25 times richer than the average retired person, just doing it once. But I'll tell you something else I've observed. I've never seen somebody do this deal once. 95% of the people will never do this deal. 100% of the people that do it once, then what do? And they do it again. And then what do? And then they do it again, and then they do it again. And 20 years later, they're standing behind a podium at a Marriott talking about all the times they did it, right? So one last time, how many of you would like me to walk you step by step through how to do this deal? Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to walk you step by step through how to find this property, how to get it under contract, which contract to use, which attorney and title company to close it at, and how to go through all the operational steps, step by step, for how to do this deal. So I'm going to walk you step by step through all of that. But it's going to take about 3 days, so we're going to have to finish at the workshop. And obviously, that's a pretty cool trick. That's just one of the 12 strategies. Not even my favorite one. Renovating houses for free is actually my favorite one. But that's just one of the 12 strategies. 65 market. I just told you your first close. That was the first close. That was actually called the atomic bomb close. Those are actually the words I said to that woman who actually handed me her deed, said, thank you, you can have it. Thank you for solving my problem. You can have it. And think about that. Like you find somebody on a list, you say those magic words, and they hand you their deed, and they say thank you. I mean, that's, to me, like magic beanstalk beans. I mean, that's pretty cool. Learn how to partner with experts, how to access money, some logistics. So Austin, Dallas, Houston, pick the location you want. Please join the REIA. It's definitely worth it. And if you have the slightest interest in real estate, you really should do that. It's only $100. And you get all kinds of huge benefits, including VIP preference seating and VIP lunch sessions with me and my power team. The logistics for the workshop, I teach it myself. These are the dates. Let's do a quick poll of the audience. How many of you are going to be coming live? Who's coming live and in person? Raise your hand if you're coming live and in person. How many of you are going to be coming online? Who's coming online? Okay. We got it. Why are you coming online? All right. Well, come to one of the other lives. So I recommend live if you can. You can even go back and forth if you have to. If none of the dates work, for example, if your daughter is getting married, you have a conflict, I recommend that you cancel the wedding, okay? Because the most important thing, it's going to change your life in a good way, is going to, and it really will be, I'm not exaggerating, this is a life-changing event, and I'll show you exactly 1,000 other people that agree. But pick the location and date that works best. So the logistics, fill out the form, you guys online, fill out the online form. Please join the REIA. It's only $100, and everybody should do that. It's a great cause and great benefits. And you get the cool poster, too. But let me give you some logistics. I'm trying to get the logistics. A few other little details. Yes, we post all of our presentations on our social media. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Pick the one and join us on there. Logistics, here they are. Okay, I teach the whole thing myself. I love teaching this stuff. I'm going to start talking about 8:45 a.m. Okay, we're going to do 24 hours over 3 days. We're going to go late Friday, late Saturday, early Sunday. How late? Kind of depends on you and all the questions and everything else. I'm going to guess we're going to go to like 7:30. Okay, so make sure you're ready to stay. If you have to leave early, you can get online, but we're going to late Friday, late Saturday, early Sunday. I'm probably going to be calling some people in the middle of the workshop and say, show me your deals. So we may literally have people walking through houses in the middle of the workshop that were at a prior workshop. It's probably going to be somebody who's made a lot of money, and they're going to talk about their deals. Bring a notepad, notebook. You're going to fill an entire notebook with notes, right? So come on time, ask questions. I'm going to help each of you build your individual plans. Everybody's unique. Some of you are going to do full-time, part-time, active, passive. Some of you have money, some of you have time. Some of you already started, some of you just getting started. We're going to go through several exercises to build your own individualized plans. Even if you can't come in person, be engaged, turn on your cameras, ask questions. We do simulcast on Zoom. Olivia, can you show us that poster real quick while I answer some other questions? And this is a little poster. Let me put the camera here. There we go. And I'll take questions in just a sec, I promise. This is, I told him about this earlier, but this is our poster. These are the 273 things you need to know to be a real estate investor. And again, this is what happens when an engineer becomes a real estate investor. And we have them all on this really cool poster that shows how they all fit together. Do we have some posters?
Yes, so fill it up with the form, and if you want to become a VIP, on the 3-day workshop, you will get the blueprint with us in the back, and looking forward to see you guys in the back. And a lot of guys and women ask me, why should I become a VIP? If I'm going to spend 3 days of my time, I want to be on the front row. I want to be close to him as much as possible because I wanted to be a VIP and get to know his power team as much as possible. That 3-day workshop is going to give you that opportunity to be there, spend 3 days with them, have lunch brought in for you guys not to go waste time to go outside and look for food. We're going to feed you guys, and you're going to spend 3 days with us, learning everything that you need to know, and going through your blueprint and how to build your business for yourself, regardless where you at on your financial situation. So come and spend 3 days with Phil and with us, and we're going to see you guys in the back and give you guys blueprint.
All right, and thank you for that, Olivia. All right, so yes, and uh-oh, my camera got stuck. There's also something, I'm an inventor. I invent things, including this little TV broadcast station here, and I have a new AI tracking camera, so it follows me around, but every once in a while it gets stuck, and it just got stuck, so how about that? Okay, a few questions, and we'll take questions from the audience as well. How much experience? 75% of the people that come to the workshop are newbies. 25% are experienced, but they're coming to learn some of the advanced strategies only we teach. Can I bring my significant other? I highly recommend that you drag them by force if necessary, because you will regret it if you don't. Because I'm going to tell you, every time I teach and they don't bring their spouse, I teach them what to do. They go home and they're like, honey, guess what? We're buying a house. And how do you think that goes if honey didn't come to the workshop? Not so good, guys. I'm going to make it fun. I promise they're going to have a blast, and I can't tell you how many times people weren't even interested, and then the person that wasn't interested becomes the one that picks up the ball and runs with it. How do I know this is the real deal? My advice is don't ask me. Ask somebody that's done it already. I invite everybody I've trained to give me a feedback form, and we scan them, handwritten feedback forms. You can't fake that. Don't believe stuff you read on the internet. Believe handwritten stuff with people's names on it. And we scan them and post every single feedback form in the internet. Thousands and thousands of feedback forms. Why would I post every feedback form on the internet for the whole world to see? Go look for yourself, and I'm going to tell you what you're going to see. 99 out of 100 all say the same thing. Oh my God, this was literally a life-changing experience. And if you don't believe me, go read 1,000 feedback forms. More than 1,000. Where do I get my tickets? When you join, we're going to give you some tickets. We're going to email your tickets, and we're going to text you your tickets. Make sure your email and your phone is legible on the form. And you're going to get a little letter with all the logistics on it. And then finally, what if I want even more help? Great. I recommend that you join the REIA. You should all join the REIA. And as members of the REIA, you can interact with me and all the other members online through our private moderated Facebook group.